Bible read. So I'm laughing because I've Bozo head there was right under my feet. And as soon as I start talking, he's got to get out. And now he comes over to say hello. Oh, hello. Welcome to the Charlie Kirk Daily Bible Read in Bob Rant. Coming to you from my laptop today, not my phone. For those who've been following me, I've been having a few issues with my phone and the internet and NBN and all that sort of thing. So thought it safer and better to get a better broadcast off the laptop. So I'll give you a quick look, as I always do. I don't know how this will come across, considering it's not the phone and things are falling out left, right and centre. But that is the Melbourne Port Phillip Bay skyline. Beautiful day, blue sky, nice seas, bit blowy, but we've got a pretty good day. So back to my ugly mug, and we'll get into it. Missed yesterday. We'll also be missing. Oh my God! Sorry, everything's dropping everywhere at the moment because I'm an idiot. I've got all things attached to the laptop that I shouldn't have. I forgot about, and when I got that view of the bay, hopefully that came across all right. Everything fell away. So, yeah, missed yesterday. We'll be missing tonight for those, again, who follow me on the Eureka Conservative podcast tonight. Oh, my God. Because I have reblocking happening at my house this week. So I've got to be spending all today. I've just got a bit blind here. Hold on. Sorry, guys. What is going on? Sorry. The better laid plans, eh? There I am. Yeah, I'm back again. So, sorry, everyone, but I'm having fun here. Every day something's going on, and my dog's annoying the crap out of me again. So let's try again. Welcome to the Charlie Kirk Daily Bible Read and Bob Rant. Just letting everyone know, I'm doing this right now off my laptop, not my phones. I've already given everyone a view of the bay. Tonight, the Eureka podcast, my more formal podcast, comes on at 8 o'clock tonight. That won't be airing because I'm getting my house reblocked. My landlord's just given me about 24 hours notice, and he's got some guys who are only available before Christmas. So I've got to move all the furniture in my house to different parts so they can get to the wall. They've actually got to lift up. It's dropped a bit. So tonight, sadly, I won't be doing the podcast. Next week, we'll be back and raging. And right through the holiday break, we'll be also continuing to air the Eureka Conservative podcast. So today, we're going to combine the two and put the Eureka podcast in with my Charlie Kirk Bible Rant. And lucky you, because I missed out on yesterday, the Bible Rant, you get two. So the Bible read, not the Bible Rant. What am I saying? So we're up to today is December 9th. We missed yesterday, December 8th. And just lucky you, they're a little lengthy, but we'll get through them pretty quick. Lot to chat about once I do get through it. So anyway, let's get into it. Genesis, we're going a long way back in the Bible now at the end of the year. 35, 1 through 15. God blesses Jacob at Bethel. Jacob is no longer to be a cheat. God promises to use him in a special way and to change his name to Israel to indicate this. God said to Jacob, "Go to Bethel at once and live there. Build an altar there to me. The God who appeared to you when you were running away from your brother," I can't pronounce this, Ezua. It's Ezesau. Anyway, so Jacob said to his family and to all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods that you have. Purify yourselves and put on clean clothes. We're going to leave here and go to Bethel, where I will build an altar to God who helped me in the time of my trouble and who has been with me everywhere I've gone." So they gave Jacob all the foreign gods that they had and also the earrings that they were wearing. He buried them beneath the oak tree near Shechem. Testing out my pronunciation today. When Jacob and his son started to leave, great fear fell on the people of the nearby towns, and they did not pursue them. Jacob came with all his people to Luz, which is now known as Bethel, in the land of Canaan. Canaan. He built an altar there and named the place after the god of Bethel, because God had revealed himself to him there when he was running away from his brother. Rebecca's nurse, Deborah, died and was buried beneath the oak south of Bethel. So it was named Oak of Weeping. Sorry, everyone. When Jacob returned from Mesopotamia, God appeared to him again and blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob, but from now on it will be Israel." So God named him Israel, and God said to him, "I am Almighty God, have many children. Nations will be descended from you, and you will be the ancestor of kings. I will give you the land which I gave to Abraham and to Isaac. I will also give you to your descendants after you." Then God left him. There where God had spoken to him, Jacob set up a memorial stone and consecrated it by pouring olive oil on it. He named the place Bethel. That was a mouthful. Sorry, everyone. December 9th, never forget, Deuteronomy 4:32-40. Moses reminds the Israelites that they owe their lives to a God who chose them and whose power is with them. Interesting, considering some of the controversy we've got going on at the moment. Search the past, the time before you were born, all the way back to the time when God created man on this earth. Search the entire earth. Has anything as great as this ever happened before? Has anyone heard of anything like this? Have any people ever lived after hearing a God speak to them from a fire as you have? Has any God ever dared to go and take people from another nation and make them his own, as the Lord your God did for you from Egypt? Before your very eyes, he used his great power and strength. He brought plagues and war, worked miracles and wonders, caused terrifying things to happen. The Lord has shown you this to prove to you that he alone is God and that there is no other. He let you hear his voice from heaven so that he could instruct you, and here on earth he let you see his holy fire. And he spoke to you from it. Because he loved your ancestors, he chose you, and by his great power he himself brought you out of Egypt. As you advanced, he drove out nations greater and more powerful than you, so that he might bring you in and give you their land, the land which still belongs to you. So remember today and never forget, the Lord is God in heaven and on earth. There is no other God. Obey all his laws that I have given you today, and all will go well with you and your descendants. You will continue to live in the land which the Lord your God is giving to be yours forever. There you go. That's pretty straightforward. Very interesting considering the context of all the Israel-Gaza war. Sorry, I'm just checking my phone. There you go. That's pretty... Just want to make sure it's all working, which it is, thank God. So yeah, all very interesting, that last one from Moses. So God promised the Jewish people, Israel, the land of Israel, forever. So I don't know whether you can break that promise with God. There's a lot of argument about whether we should honor Israel as the land of the Jews and all that sort of thing. I think it's pretty self-explanatory in that. You know, you got your Tucker Carlson's over in Qatar, and he's embracing the Muslim Brotherhood types. I'm going to buy a house there, apparently. Quite interesting, by the way, in my rant. Quite interesting for a America First type. You know, I'll go where I want to go, period. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm sort of getting sick to death of Tucker saying period at the end of every sentence. Like he's putting a final nail into any debate, and only he can comment on it. The narcissism of that man. And as I keep saying, I used to love Tucker. I followed him religiously right up until the election this year. And then he changed. No, I didn't change. He changed. I'm still a big fan of Trump. He's not. And, you know, he's trying, along with Candace Owens, to destroy TPUSA, which will have a dramatic effect. If you watched Tim Pool yesterday, couldn't agree more with him on the chances of Trump, his administration, and MAGA being successful in their midterms next year and then the presidential election the following year. And God help us if they're not successful and the Democrats get back in power. You know, things are starting to come good. All we needed to do was support Trump right through his term. You won't have to love everything he does. You're never going to love everything any politician does. But that's all we have to do. And then get a successor. But now it's all seems to be falling apart. I still think Trump and his administration are doing some great stuff, but it's all being drowned out by this Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson bullshit. Even Nick Fuentes is sick of their bullshit. I follow a lot of people on there. I've actually started following Nick Fuentes because I want to see what's fact and fiction with this guy. And anybody where there's controversy, I do follow him a bit. But Nick makes more sense. And I disagree with so much of what he says, but he makes so much more sense than Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. And you know what he does? He doesn't do the 180 backflips. So he is who he is. He says who he is. And Piers Morgan tried to trap him by calling him a racist. And Nick Fuentes goes, yeah, well, I am. There you go. But that's not a big thing because pretty much everyone these days can be a racist, especially if you go by Piers Morgan standards. So anyway, Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are definitely, Tucker's not even trying to dispel any of the rumors going around that he's been getting paid by Qatar. Here he is on the Doha conference, hosting it, interviewing their presidents and important people over there, proclaiming he's going to buy a house there, how great a society it is there. I mean, if you know any of the history of Qatar, you can't make that claim. They are an Islamic nation that oppress the rights of a number of people, including women, gays, whatever you want to do. Anybody who's a Christian churches there aren't even allowed to display their symbols in public. And they finance some of the most radical terrorist organizations on the planet and have done for some time now. So what was concerning for me out of watching that, Tucker Carlson was no surprise. He sold out long ago. He's not America first. He's Muslim Brotherhood first. So be very careful if you're embracing Tucker Carlson, because if you are, you're embracing, in my book, radical Islam. And the same thing goes for Candace Owens. Be very careful too. The gospel, the Christian gospels tell you to beware of false prophets. Well, there's 2 false prophets you can get anymore. Don't worry, I'm coming back to Australian ships. I sort of went on this tangent a little bit. So, whenever someone claims to be America first, and you're saying, well, I'm going to buy a house and potentially live in another country. Isn't that what Tucker Carlson's been saying about, Mark Levine and I forget the other one. His name will come to me soon. But all the Jewish influencers, he's saying, well, they can't have dual loyalties to both Israel and America. But Tucker Carlson now has dual loyalties by his own admission to Qatar and the United States. And what really is concerning for me is that Don Trump Jr. is right there fawning all over Tucker Carlson. And what the conservative movement in America desperately needs is people like Trump, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio to come out and just slam the crap out of Carlson and Candace Owens. Just ridicule them. But they won't do it because, they've got their mateships going, it's like Megyn Kelly. Just does my head in. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Call them out. And it's not like Trump not to call out anybody or to hesitate on calling out anybody. So I find it all rather bizarre. Meanwhile, in the land of Australia, here we go yet again. The Victorian government is going to apologise to the Indigenous for colonising, for the Anglos colonising Victoria. How many apologies do we have to go through? We have an acknowledgement of country at every frickin' event. I go to the toilet and I reckon there's an acknowledgement of country soon. It's just crazy how we just keep whipping ourselves. You ever seen those Islamic guys who whip themselves in the back? That's what it feels like to be an Australian at the moment. You think you've gotten somewhere. We've got apologies. We've got treaties. We've got all this. But no, let's come up with something else and just, flay ourselves a little bit with the colonial whips. Interestingly, God himself pushed out other nations to colonize Israel for the Jews. So it's actually godly to be a colonizer, if you go by that reading I just put on there. But no, he's Jacinta Allen, and she's under pressure. She's behind in the polls. The latest poll came out is indicating a Liberal Party win. So for all of us that didn't like the way Brad Batten was dumped for Jess Williams, we might have to just through gritted teeth say, it wasn't a bad move. But at the end of the day, We just got to get these pathetic Marxist, ALP, communist governments out of our government benches, away from our budgets, away from our dollars, and give the place a chance to breathe again. Get our finances under wraps. Get some of these Marxist ideologies out of our bureaucracies. Make power cheap again. Get industry back up and pumping. Get the place motivated again. A lot of people say I don't think you can turn it around. There's a lot of examples, Harvey and Milei in Argentina, for example, that if you actually make the right policy decisions and put across the right regulations, and put in a regulation framework that encourages people, doesn't stop people, things can turn around really quickly. And the first place you can start that is by bloody cutting the shit out of our bureaucracy. They were going on about 1,000 public jobs going. Well, they're still about 50,000 short. I don't know how many public servants we've got in Victoria, but we need to halve it. We just don't need this many public servants, and we don't need this much spending, and we just got to look after the basics. Make sure the roads work, make sure we've got homes being built, make sure business is being supported, make sure transport is still working, and make sure energy costs are low. And cut off the borders to managing immigration properly. Embrace our culture. Don't apologise for it. I'm not apologising for that flag. I'm not apologising for the English flag in it. I'm actually quite proud of that heritage. Go get stuffed, Jacinta Allen. You're not apologising for me. It wasn't, by human standards, historical standards, it wasn't that long ago that the Roman Empire invaded Britain, invaded the homeland of my forebears, and they weren't strong enough to hold it. Now, what happened? We didn't invade Australia. We just sent our convicts to Australia. And, free settlers came here, and, sorry, the Indigenous weren't strong enough to keep it. That's human history. Empires change. Ownership of land change. Peoples change. And if we're not smart, we are going to be the ones getting overwhelmed by that. And we're on the verge of it now, just by not wars, not conquest, but because we're bringing in immigrants who have more kids than we do. And the Anglo percentage of our population is dropping dramatically. So, for all the NSN types, you can't just kick out people that are Australian citizens. Then why would you? I watched a tape of Tucker Carlson yesterday. I'll share it with you in a minute. I thought it was 2 minutes of some of the most inspirational comments I've ever heard. God, we miss that man. Everything's fallen apart since he left. But he was a magnificent man. The beauty of me coming to you through this laptop, I can share a few things. So I'm going to start embedding in a minute by sharing a few clips off Twitter, which is what I usually do on the podcast. But since I'm not doing the podcast tonight, I'll do it now. But the other part that's just annoying me is this whole social media. We are world leading, patting ourselves on the back. This is a magnificent thing. Parents are objected, just they're not real parents, all this sort of nonsense. Why do you want to be world leading? Hitler was world leading when he developed the concentration camps and killed millions. Do we want to be world leading? This has got trouble written all over it. Our kids are going into a summer, and what fool chose December 10th? If you wanted to have the most negative impact on our kids, do it when they've got an 8-week break coming up for holidays. I mean, the stupidity of this government is beyond insane. Just beyond it. How I just don't understand how people rate this government. It's just insane. Elbo's an idiot. Anika Wells, she not only is she an idiot, she has to be an idiot to spend all this money knowing it was going to get caught. But she's a spendthrift. She doesn't care about the money she's spending. She's got no respect for you and me as taxpayers, but she'll spend. Oh, but it's within the rules. Well, change the rules. The rules are bullshit. And, just have a thread of common sense and decency. You must know what's right and what's wrong. I mean, we all must know what's right and wrong. If I go away for business, my dog, I'll set up a place for him. If I had family, they'd stay behind. I'd go do my business. No business is going to send you off with your family unless they're flowing in money. News alert, red flag. Australia's not. We're in debt up to our eyeballs. We can't afford this crap. But let's just keep sending it all across to, let's make that flight to the UN. $100,000 on flights, thousands more dollars on entertainment and food and grog. All to what? Go to the UN and parrot this social media ban? Who cares? I've got no doubt it won't stand up as we go. But anyway, there's my rant. So let's share a few things off Twitter before we leave you. I've got to share this thing. For those who don't usually do this with me on the rant, you will figure out that, oh my God, what is going on here? For some reason now, might not be able to. Why is it doing that? My mouse has gone all funny. All right, let's go to this. Have I got that backwards? I see what's going on. All right. Sorry, guys. Technology. Bookmarks. This was good. If you watch this, Tim Pool just went nuclear, as it says up there in Candace Owens. Let's have a bit of a listen. I mean, he was fired up. I'm starting to like Tim Pool. Oh.
I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take... Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag.
Pardon the language.
She is a degenerate cunt.
Oh.
She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told me? She has no security. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit.
Sorry for the language.
She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these fucking conservatives out there that send me these fucking messages have no fucking balls to call her out. Wow. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these fucking messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't fucking DM me like I did something for you as you cower, as you fucking cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right fucking now.
Yeah, that was the...
I'm fucking done with these people.
She had security just not on the level.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two fucking shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy, and she doesn't give a shit about her security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my fucking property, and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got fucking strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who trying to live there. How the fuck am I even supposed to sell this property? And you know, it's all lies. It's all hypocrisy, and it is for the purpose of making money. And she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie, she loved Charlie, and she is burning everything down that he built because she is evil. She is evil. And I'll say it again, this conservative movement is fractured, it's fried, whatever it is.
Yeah, enough of that one. As you can tell, he was pretty fired up. Now, listen to this moron. Oh, my God. This was embarrassing.
The Prime Minister here, and I wanted to speak to you directly about something very important. From December 10, if you're under 16, you're no longer allowed to have a social media account. You'll know better than anyone what it's like.
I mean, fancy being a Prime Minister and saying to you, any of your citizens, doesn't matter their age, young, old, medium, that you'll no longer have a social media account. What a totalitarian.
Growing up with algorithms, endless speeds, and the pressure that can come with that. That's why we've taken this step to support you. If you have questions, by all means, reach out. Talk to your parents, your teachers, and your friends. And if you feel like you need more support, Headspace and Kids Helpline is there to assist. Above all, make the most of the school holidays coming up rather than spending it scrolling on your phone. Start a new sport, learn a new instrument, or read that book that has been sitting there on your shelf for some time. And importantly, spend quality time with your friends and your family, face to face. Have a great summer. It's the Prime Minister here.
What an absolute wanker. I mean, seriously, back in the day, when I was a kid, you had different things as a kid. You've got dead time in your day to fill. Now, yeah, read a book. Well, what do you think social media does? There is actually books you can get offline. Kids get these books and they will read them online. That's the way they do it. He's just taken that away from them. Kids used to communicate by phone or whatever. Now they communicate by social media. It's no different to what we went to. I remember my dad going nuts that we used to watch too much TV. Kids now just watch their favorite clips and videos. They all watch it via their phone or social media. As long as it's managed and monitored by the parents, it's fine. Not every kid should be penalised because they don't have parents that don't manage it or don't observe it. It's just insane, this whole thing about taking away people's rights and then using, as Annika Wells tried to justify this week, how this is world leading and it's going to save lives, la, la, la. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Those kids that have those issues with depression are still going to have those issues with depression, maybe worse, with or without social media. Those kids without their social media, as Elbow just said, go out and make new friends. Well, what do you think's going to happen if they're the nerdy, depressed types who go out and try and make new friends? They'll get picked on. They'll get bashed. All the bad things will happen. There just needs to be better parenting. And this nimwit thinks he's doing a good job. I mean, it's beyond stupid. It is beyond stupid. And people who can't understand that. This guy I love. Listen to what he just said about my favourite two people.
By everybody on the woke right. They're all liars. I'm at a point where I am so unbelievably nauseated by everybody on the woke right. They're all liars. They all contradict themselves constantly on a daily basis. It's this 24/7 drip of lies and self-contradictions. Day after day, they'll say one thing one day, and then the next day they'll turn around and say the complete opposite thing. For example, Candace Owens said on December 3rd that Blake over at Turning Point USA, who's the guy that released that statement on behalf of Turning Point against Candace Owens, and then he invited her on the podcast to discuss some of the things that she's been saying about them, to which she denied, and she lied about that, and then she changed the reason why, and she just contradicted herself with that story in general. But she said on December 3rd that, before Blake released the statement, that Blake is a nice guy and he's likable and all this stuff, and he's like the only person she's never had a problem with over there. And she said nice things about him on her live show, again recorded for the internet that we can go fact check. And then literally 2 days later, the December 5th stream, she goes and says the exact opposite about Blake, that he's never been likable and he's a terrible guy and this and that. Quite literally the exact opposite of what she said 2 days before that. So which is true, Candace? Which is true? The truth is that it doesn't matter which is true, because Candace is going to say what Candace is going to say for her own benefit, and she's going to lie and she's going to contradict herself, and she doesn't care who knows it at this point, because she's a cluster B psychopathic narcissist, just like the rest of these woke right people, just like Tucker Carlson, who's going to go on air constantly on his show accusing Ted Cruz or Ben Shapiro or anyone that goes and visits the country of Israel as being a traitor to the United States, and you're not America first or whatever he says. And then yet he goes to Qatar and interviews the prime minister and goes to their Doha or whatever it's called conference that's going on, or that was going on a day or two ago here upon me recording this. And he's on air talking about how he's buying property in Qatar and he loves Qatar and this and that, and nobody should criticize him because he's an American and he can say whatever he wants. And apparently if you're criticizing him, you're against the idea that Americans should be able to say whatever they want, do whatever they want. This is the nauseating world of the woke right. It's
so true. So true. Here's our Nimwit. Listen, let's have a look, finish off with the Nimwit Premier. So we've got an idiot Prime Minister and we've got an idiot Premier.
And we are all proud to stand here today as part of a government, as part of a parliament, where today I will be delivering in the Victorian Parliament on behalf of the state and the people of Victoria an historic and an important apology to First
Look at the idiot nodding head behind her. Unbelievable. These peoples
here in our state. It will be an apology that will acknowledge the impact upon First Peoples since colonisation. And also, so importantly too, It is an apology that is laying the foundations for a better.
I just can't listen to that anymore. That insane. The whole thing is insane. How many more apologies do you have to do? How much more will they milk this thing for all it's worth? It's like Candace Owens with Charlie Kirk's death. They just keep flogging this dead horse that is reconciliation, apologies. It's just, we've already had a national apology. That covers the whole of Australia. Why do we ever have to have a state-by-state thing? The ALP just want to milk this because they've got nothing else. And when they're in trouble, let's just go to the Indigenous issues. The Indigenous issues and I was trying to find the Indigenous issues and climate change. That's their two big go-to get out of jail cards, and that's all they've got. Oh my God, my feed. There's idiot. We've already covered him. That's Annika Wells' husband. Is it a bigger nerd or what? Apparently, that's the one she keeps paying to go to the footy and the ski trips and all that. Who wears the pants in that family, eh? Jess Wilkins will follow in the footsteps of Peter Dutton by turning her back to the apology. Ooh. Today, Vic Lib opposition leader Jess Wilson will follow in the footsteps of Peter Dutton by turning her back to the apology to First Nations people. In fact, if given the chance, I'm pretty sure that means, she'll take a knife to Victoria's treaty, a decade in the making. Good. Was it from Melbourne? He's an ALP thing. I hope she does turn her back. I don't think she will. This is so true. It was never just about an apology. It was always about the money. That's all it ever was, all it ever has been, all it ever will be. Wells, I read this morning. Wells left a Commonwealth car waiting for 10 hours at an NRL grand final, costing more than $1,200 to the taxpayer. What a bitch. She just got to resign. Anyway, I think that's enough for one day. I don't usually go this long. I'm so sorry. But I've got to get tonight's episode in. So for those who watched tonight, I thought I'd put a bit of an extra bit in. So, and my mouse is just, there we go. I changed my mouse yesterday, and on your mouse, your left click, it does certain things, your right click, it does certain things. Somehow I've managed when I've connected my mouse to get that in reverse. So I'm automatically collecting left, and it's doing all the right click functions and vice versa. So just to confuse myself, why not? It's not as though I'm not confused already. So anyway, that's it for today's live stream. Like I said, I won't be on tonight. I apologize for that, but I've got to get this place ready. I've already done so much today. That's why I'm a bit unsheveled a little bit. So from me, and where is he? There he is. He's on. There's my boy. Can I come and say goodbye? No, he's going to look at me strange. He's not happy. Yeah, I did the lawns just before. I did because the tradies tomorrow need the front yard to do all their work a little bit before coming in the house. And he loves it when I does the lawn. I get the lawnmower out, the whippersnipper out. He gets his little ball and thing, and he just loves it. So the fact that I finished the lawns and I've now walked in to do this, I'm not popular. Yes, we had to leave everything in the front yard. If only our politicians were like our dogs, the world would run so much better. Anyway, that's my rant for today. That's my Bible read. I will probably not be back tomorrow. I've got a really busy day tomorrow. Thursday and Friday, we'll see. That's when they're doing the reblocking. So I might have an extended absence for this week. We'll see. If I can get this done, I will get it done. But if I don't, that's the reason why. And probably the earliest I'll be back online, if I can't get it done, is Sunday. So just keep a watch out. I'll do my best to get up here roughly between 3 and 5 every day for the live stream, and I'll do it via the laptop. So hope you enjoyed what I had on today from me and JJ. To you, God bless your kids, God bless your grandkids. Give them a hug, give your pets a hug, God bless them, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Okay, see you everyone. Bye.